The other long-term future issue for you, Justin, is you've had this great relationship with Tasmania. It's a big sponsor of yours. You play games in Launceston. You just took Collingwood down there for a pre-season game. Do you see, we all presume Tasmania is going to get a team. You see yourself playing a game or, two as a home game in Launceston still, even if Tasmania gets its own team?
Well, I think it's sort of all on the table at the moment. So, I mean, we're incredibly supportive of Tasmania being awarded their own team, and we'll do whatever we can to support Tasmania in that and play a role. The other part of that is, we've been there for 23 years now, so we've got, there's a generation of people who've grown up of being Hawthorn supporters down there. We've got, close to 10,000 members down in Tasmania, and there's been many, many more over the years that have been supporters and been members that are very, very connected to the club. So whatever it looks like in the future, and let's assume Tasmania gets their own team as they should, we probably, we would certainly like to, and we expect to have a presence there of some sort. That will help Tasmanian footy. I mean, obviously we've always had a strong focus in on the north. The new stadium, as amazing as it looks, when that gets up, that'll get up in the south. So we need to make sure that the people in the north are connected and engaged, and we'd expect to play a major role down there moving forward.
Which means a home game against Tasmania, your home game, but in Launceston.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the way it looks. Maybe it's an away games. We're not really sure because it's there's so much to play out, and even at this stage we don't know if it's 19 teams and that sort of thing. So, I mean, we've got to be flexible. But we'd certainly like to play games there.
Whole new captain as well, James Sicily. So how has he been to you? Did you have any say in that decision?
I mean, the football department make the recommendation through to me, and then turn onto the board. I just think James Sicily is a wonderful, wonderful young man. And he's one of those people that I think when you're on the outside of the club, you have this perception of James and the white line fever over probably the early part of his career and the like. But when you meet him within the four walls of this footy club, he's just a superhuman being, very interested and invested in everyone else around the club, and just respected and admired by his teammates, but also the whole club. So yeah, I think as a young leader with a young team, he certainly leads by example, and he certainly takes a real interest in everyone. So I couldn't be happy with that appointment.
Talking to Justin Reeves, Hawthorn CEO, and you can be part of the new breed of Hawk in 2023 and become a member today at hawks.team/SEN. Justin, any indication as to when and who it might be replacing Gill?
I actually have no idea, I must admit. I feel like it's one of those questions that people ask all the time because we're in the industry, but no, I certainly don't have any insight into that at all. What's your view? Have you got any insight there, Dwayne?
Well, I know. Is Andrew Westacott in the running, the CEO of the Grand Prix Corporation? The Grand Prix gets out of the way and he puts his hat in that ring and gets that gig. I mean, there's so many different names that have been thrown up inside the AFL, the obvious ones. I'm just looking outside as to who some non-obvious outsiders could be.
Yeah, well, it's a big job, as I'm sure you know, and whoever comes in to that role to replace Gill's done a wonderful job, will need to be a seasoned performer. So I would imagine the process has taken some time because the Commission would be looking internally, but also externally for some pretty amazing talent.
Are you still seeing gather round as the round that will get an announcement, or could we see Gill in the job for the entire home and away season?
Yeah, I hate to sort of sound like a cop-out, but I really don't know. We haven't. We've got a CEO's president's meeting next week, the AFL, sorry, later this week, and I would assume we'd get an update then. But at this point in time, we haven't got any update. So gather round. What's it, round 5? I think, is it?
Yeah.
It's only sort of about 6 weeks away now, so it's closing in.
And whilst on the CEO's meeting, what's the biggest issue facing the game? Do you go into that meeting with something or one or two things that are top of your agenda to raise? What's top of your list?
I think that, still we'd like to get some clarity on what's happening with Tasmania. I think that there'll be a lot of interest in that. We need to know, sort of what the leadership of the AFL is going to look like. It's a pretty key one. I expect that update there And also just, with speaking through our own lens, we've got some things that with our own facility and the likes, and, we'd like to look at what the facilities are going to look like moving forward. There's a lot of sort of big end things that aren't really to do with the 2 hours of footy that played each Saturday that we have interest in for the long term that probably need to be decided and sort of given some focus.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Oh, just that, it's a long game, football. So we often focus in on the week to week, and the next game is ahead of us. But when you're running football clubs, facilities, right across, Tasmania is the stadium. This is a big deal for football. For us being so involved with Tassie, we'd like to know if it's, is it likely to be 2027? Is it more likely to be 2028 or 29? Some of those specifics around there, which is the longer term thinking for us, because we're building our own facility here at Dingley, and we'd like to be able to get some surety on what our future looks like, because we're going to, with those decisions, do we bring back all 4 games back to Melbourne? Do we bring back 3 and play 1 home game in Tassie? There's some thinking for us. It's probably not going to be decided in the next, but that won't come to fruition for a few years. But they're really important priorities for us right now.
And before I let you go, the racism allegations and investigation, where's that at? What's the timeline looking like?
Yeah, well, I think the timeline we don't really have an update for at the moment. The AFL independent panel are doing their work, and I think they've been pretty clear to say that they'll take the time that's required to do it properly. For us, it's very difficult because they're all, a lot of those people involved are Hawthorn people, and both sides of different allegations, and we need to make sure that everyone's given the rights that they deserve through this. And it is an independent panel, and we can't be giving a running commentary on that because we're not involved in the process at the moment, and we can't really see exactly what's happening. So we need to wait, and we need to make sure that those people that have been charged with the independent work are given an opportunity to do it well for everyone concerned.
Justin, great to have you on. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for jumping on board with SEN as part of your membership day to get the numbers up there. What's the number going to be come the end of membership time? What's the number you're after when it comes to members?
Well, last year we had about 82,000 members, which was good. I'd like to think there's a lot of excitement ahead for us, and there's a lot of people that are happy with where we're heading. We'd love to go well past that. I see at the moment Collingwood have 100,000 members and Richmond have 100,000 members, and I think West Coast have got 100,000 members. That's where we're heading. I'd love to get there this year. I hope we do. I'll be pushing for it and trying everything we can from our end. But we certainly want to see, a bit like on the field, we want to see growth. We want to make sure that the membership's often a reflection of how your members perceive, the club. And we think that there's a lot to celebrate, looking forward to, some real exciting times ahead. And so I think members getting on board is going to help us, but also give everyone that opportunity to see it moving forward. So we can't wait. So I'd love to see 100,000. Well, let's see how we go.
Jump on board, hawks.team/SEN. You can become a member today. Great to have you, Justin. Really appreciate your time.
Anytime, Dwayne. Thanks for that.
Justin Reeves, Hawthorn CEO.